Bones is an urban horror flick from 2001 starring Snoop Doggy Dogg himself and directed by Ernest Dickerson. Yep, Snoop D-O-G-G in this bad boy that I have seen the poster and the cover art for since I was a young teen, but never got the chance to be watching it since my parents were kind of strict back then. I literally was not able to watch anything R-rated until I was like 14 plus. It was absolutely ridiculous. I really don't want to get into it, but had to make up for lots and lots of lost time, you know, after 17 plus, because of how many films I've missed in a day. But you know what? That's what Scream Factory is for releasing these classics. And this one was a lot of fun, so I'm here to talk about it. This is a horror film, as I mentioned. Lots of comedy in it, though. Definitely blaxploitation inspired completely. It feels like a product of its time for sure as well, in like 2001. But obviously it's throwing back to like the 70s blaxploitation. Pam Grier is in here in a classic Pam Grier role for the late 90s, early 2000s. And they really have fun with this film. You can tell that the director, Ernest Dickerson, really had fun with the concept and didn't really take the film extremely seriously, which you shouldn't, and just had a blast with it. But anyways, it starts off like your typical urban gangster horror movie. You got a drug deal going on, and then these two guys who are buying these drugs end up in this abandoned crack dealer looking house. So they're going through this abandoned house. It's totally run down, and they are spooked away from it, from strange things occurring inside, until we are introduced to your group of leads, pretty much. You got Patrick and Bill, who are two brothers. They also have a sister named Tia, and Tia's a white girl, and Patrick and Bill are both black, and they have a white mother and a black father. So obviously second marriage going on, different race of kids, and they're all friends, and they all have they're all basically, what they want to do with this abandoned lot is turn it into a club. And this place has a lot of history, like bad history. It's also right in the center of a ghetto that's basically going nowhere. So this idea of turning this location into a club is kind of questionable, being in the location that it's in. And then you're introduced to Pam Grier's character named Pearl, who has a daughter of her own as well, named Cynthia. And this group of kids meets Cynthia and befriends her, and she's befriending them. But she's always being told by her extremely paranoid mother, who I thought was homeless at the beginning, because she was very hippie looking. She's got dreads and everything. But it turns out she's a psychic. She's the urban psychic of the area. And she's always warning her daughter to stay away from this house, especially because there's this whole history and vibe from '79, where Snoop Dogg's character, whose name is Jimmy Bones, used to be this big, top of the line pimp basically, and gangster, who was murdered back in the day. And you start to kind of have a little bit of a history lesson when it comes to Jimmy Bones and his crew and the people that murdered him. And Pearl, played by Pam Grier, was his girlfriend back in the day. So certain things in this film are pretty predictable. You kind of know where it's going to be going, but other things kind of take you by surprise, especially the themes and the way the gore and the way the effects and the way the comedy is played out a lot. It's kind of it's just, like I said, it's a film that is so much fun for a time. Especially, I wrote this closer to the end, but for a time where horror was extremely weak and there was so many bad releases coming out, like post-Scream era kind of thing, and especially right through the 2000s, horror just didn't have its place. It wasn't front and center when it came to other kinds of films that were coming out at the time. And this one, it seems like it kind of knew that, and it just played its cards the way it was meant to play its cards. It wanted to be, you know, a total urban horror. They even call it a urban gothic. There's a special feature called urban gothic, which totally makes sense. And they wanted to completely throw it back to blaxploitation and throw lots of horror elements. I love the blood effects in this film. The blood effects really remind me of Hammer horror because all of the blood is paint red, like Hammer horror is. And when it comes to the deaths, I was completely reminded of Robert Rodriguez style blood splatters because so many of the kills and the deaths in this film involve like big over the top splatters of blood, and I just thought, man, that's a treat to Rodriguez, and that's a treat to so much classic, you know, Hammer horror movies from the 70s. It's got a lot of 70s vibes in here. Another thing that I thought that this film going into it, because I went into it completely blind, I didn't read up on it, I didn't watch any trailers, I thought this was a vampire film for some reason. From the vibe I got from it and the posters I've seen and kind of just seeing it here and there briefly throughout the years, or decades you could say, I really thought this was a vampire film. I thought Snoop was playing a vampire, but it has more to do with like curses and the undead kind of thing, like curses that fall upon people, you know, when bad things happen kind of thing. And when it comes to what happened to Snoop's character, Jimmy Bones, in the 70s, his spirit kind of lived on and went into reminiscence until it was resurrected once again by these young adults trying to open up a club in the middle of where all this went down. So, yeah, they're basically putting the club together. They find the skeleton in the cellar of this building, Jimmy Bones' skeleton, and they kind of already realize that it's him. He has a ring on his finger that when one of the characters, Maurice, he's the loudmouth of the group, he snatches the ring and takes it for himself, and that's when the skeleton starts to reform. I wrote that down too. Transformation, like it starts to, you know, flesh up, and the veins and the blood, something you would see right out of like Underworld or something like that, starts to reform himself into human form. And I think that's where I got a lot of the vampire vibes. But yeah, Snoop just comes back as this Undertaker-looking badass, and he rocks every scene. Snoop Dogg does a great in this, and he looks really good. He's got these like black suit and like black long hair, Undertaker hat. He looks pretty sick, and yeah, and then he just starts messing everybody up that messed him up back in the day. There was this deal gone wrong where these three guys that were involved, Al Lupovich, which is basically like a mafioso, Eddie Mack, and Jeremiah. Jeremiah is actually the father of Bill and Patrick, who have their sister Tia, who's a white girl with like married to the white woman. Jeremiah is a guy who got involved in this deal gone wrong back in the day and then escaped the ghetto and wanted to give his kids a better life, but they got dragged into this in 2001 when this film takes place. And yeah, Jeremiah, Eddie Mack, and Pearl, of course, she being his ex-girlfriend, Jimmy Bones' ex-girlfriend, gets dragged in it too, and he's just basically wanting to mess all of them up and take his girl back. So that's pretty much the plot. There's some really funny shit that happens, though. There's this one scene where Maurice, he claims that KFC belongs to the K, and there's something in the batter that makes a black man sterile. I'm just like, wow, this film is actually going there. It's hilarious. closer to the end when Snoop Dogg starts to mess everybody up, he collects all of their heads, and it states that he's collecting their heads to carry their souls around, and he puts them together kind of like a keychain. It's kind of funny. The effects are cheesy. It's the CGI is pretty bad, but they do it so humorously that you can still have fun with it. It's not like so bad it's bad. It's so bad it's great, and I'll say it over and over. That's exactly how a film like this should be. But he's carrying around the heads, and the heads are talking shit. Bangs it against the wall. The guy's Eddie Mac's head is like, "You gonna bang my shit up against the wall?" It's ridiculous fun, honestly. And then the climax of the film is basically takes place in the city of the living dead, which I kind of missed exactly how they're transported there. They're taken in some kind of elevator, which is within this house, but the house has already been burnt down because Jeremiah and it wasn't Jeremiah. It was another group of people who, once they saw all this history being resurrected, they decided to burn this new club down. So I guess it still remained a portal to the city of the living dead, and that's how Snoop gets there at the end of the climax of the film with Pearl. And Cynthia, the daughter of Pearl, follows them in there too, and she kind of gets like hypnotized by him, and Patrick, who's her love interest, tries to pull her away, and the film ends basically with her still possessed with Jimmy Bones' soul, and it just kind of ends like that. Another really great scene is where Maurice is killed. They find this dog at the beginning of the film, and of course they named the dog Bones. The dog is the most evil dog known to man. He's got red eyes and everything, and they name him Bones, and Tia wants to feed him like red meat and all that, even though she's got all the warnings in the book not to. But this dog ends up killing Maurice, and there's a scene before the dog starts to bite him to death where it vomits this slew of maggots. Again, like another nod to like a Lucio Fulci film or something. Just maggots all over Maurice. It's disgusting. And then they all start to rain down like through the roof of the club. So the entire dance floor is covered in maggots. The DJ booth is covered in maggots. There's some guys eating pizza, and they don't realize that their pizza's covered in maggots. Starts eating that. It's really disgusting, but it's pretty cool at the same time. And then I think I mentioned this already, but every guy that Snoop Dogg or Jimmy Bones ends up fucking up. It's great with the blood and everything, with the Hammer style blood and the Robert Rodriguez blood splatters, top notch. So yeah, this is a fun as hell film. 100% recommended. This is one that you can throw in with friends and just have fun with. It's a turn your brain off film. It has a great soundtrack. There's a lot of like hip hop, urban tracks, R&B. The music is really good, and the gore effects are really good. The horror elements are really good, and then the comedy is ridiculous, to put it lightly, but ridiculous in the best of ways. It's a film you laugh at with your boys kind of thing. And just checking if I have anything else. I got some Hellraiser vibes. I'd say this is like a poor man's urban Hellraiser kind of deal going on, in a good sense. At the end, in this city of the living dead, there's all these bodies trying to push their way through like like rubber looking sheets, which you would see like their heads and their arms trying to like rip through, kind of like you would see like in Hellraiser or something like that. And just the bodies are all like deformed looking. It's pretty nasty, and it's well done for what it is. I would say you kind of have to see it to know what I'm talking about, but for anybody who's seen the movie already, which I hope you have, if you're this far into a spoiler review, you know what I mean. so so yeah, that's about it. I felt bad for Jeremiah dying because he really didn't, like the father of the kids. He really didn't deserve it too much, even though he did. He did mess up back in the day. But he wasn't as bad as the other guys, like Shotgun and Eddie Mack, especially. He was kind of like, he kind of escaped all that, and he kind of deserved his life. But Jimmy Bones don't forgive, like he says that repeatedly at the end. Dog eat dog. A little nod to Snoop Dogg himself. D-O-double-G. That's it. That's it for notes. Like I said, great film with a great cast. I'm glad to have finally watched it. I've heard of it, like I said, for years, and when Scream Factory announced it, I'm like, oh, I had totally forgotten about that film. Thanks for the reminder. I want to pick that up. And I found it for under $20 American, and decided to ship it in and give it a shot. And I thought it would be perfect for a review like this. So, Cellar Reviews, Bones, 2001. Like right around the Ghost Ship era, which actually I just finished watching Ghost Ship just the other day. So, all these films are giving me pure nostalgia for that time, like 2005 to 2007-ish is when I, would watch a lot of all those films. And yeah, just pure nostalgic to that time, to like high school / college era. Love it. Love it. But that's it for now. There will be more reviews to come. Check out my Cellar reviews. Check out my B-movie banters, Netflix banters, all kinds of banters. I'm here to talk about movies a lot because that's what I like to do. So subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my reviews, and I will be back for plenty more. So until next time, cheers, have a good night, and take care.